Ladies and gentlemen, live from Memorial Hall, Greg Simoneau. Thanks. Nice to be here. Thank you, Local Scene, for having me. Thanks, Dan. You know how at the beach they have lifeguards? Well, in the future, the lifeguards are going to have to battle death guards for control of the beach. And this ragtag band of heroes is led by their mentor, David Hasselhoff. And they're going against the Death Guard and their evil leader, Beach Death, played by the always sinister Chris Cooper. It's Death Guard 2084. Hasselhoff versus Cooper. Battle for the beach. Thank you. I went to the beach the other day, and parking is insane. Couldn't get close. So I saw this person's yard. It said, beach parking, $20. So I parked there, parked on the lawn. And when I got back, they were pretty mad that I parked on the lawn. And like I always say, you gotta pay to play at the beach. And that goes for lottery and prostitutes. You gotta pay to play. You know how your mom would say, there's more sand in this house than at the beach. And this beach I went to, that would be true. It was very rocky, very cliffy. So I get there, I'm off, I'm strapped in, I'm beaching pretty hard. And then these people say, hey, go. I'm like, what? Then my friend says, why'd you put the bungee on if you're not going to jump? And I said, this is the weirdest beach I've ever been to. So I jumped. And when I popped back up, everyone was so happy for me. They were patting me on the back. One lady was so excited, she kept yelling, he's bleeding, he's bleeding. So I decided to take a little nap. And you know what? When you're asleep, you can kind of still hear people. Well, all I could hear them saying was, what should we do? Should we pull the plug? And if you hear that when you're sleeping, you get right up, if you can. I'm up, I said. I'm awake. And then the lady said, okay, sir, time for you to get out of that tanning bed. And I was like, okay. And she said, sir, next time, you can't go in there if you have open wounds. And I said, any open wounds I got in here, I got from you, you crazy nympho. And she said, my name tag says Nympha, and stop calling me that, sir. So I looked at the bill, and I got charged for something they call excessive bleeding, which is fine. I ended up buying the tanning bed and then selling it to a traveling haunted house company because that was their theme. And I also sold some of the still photos of the bed to CSI Miami. And then I was cast in a weird episode of House Hunters, Bloody Bed Edition. You usually don't get House Hunters like that. Then I kept asking my friends, hey, when are we going back to the beach? And they're funny. They're crazy. They say funny stuff to me. They said, "We've never been to the beach with you. We only just met you 5 minutes ago." And I said, "Oh, that's funny. That's funny. If we're not friends, then who invited me out for drinks?" They said, "This isn't a bar. And get out of our kitchen." And we called the nursing home, and they're coming to pick you up. Let's go outside. I said, "If we aren't friends, then how come I'm in charge of your uncle's medication?" And they said, "We don't have any uncles. And stop giving that homeless guy pills." And the FBI is looking for you because of they caught you on video on January 6th. They're always saying funny stuff like that to me. And I told them the joke's on them. The FBI has already questioned me. They were already asking me questions like, "What's a family doing living in your basement?" Stuff like, "Why did you tell the post office you were dead?" Why haven't you shown up for work in months? Stuff like that. A lot of questions. Stuff like, "Where did you find all these missing paintings?" Or, "Why do you keep sending money overseas?" Very suspicious. "What are you going to do with all that lawn fertilizer?" "Why do you keep telling people down at the university you know how to start a windstorm?" Stuff like that. It took a lot for me to get the FBI off my tail. One of the agents was like, "How come this prosthetic tail won't come off? And who has elective surgery to put a tail on? And how does this guy sit down?" Stuff like that. My wife doesn't know this, but I got kicked out of speed dating the other day. Yeah. I went under a fake name, Toodles McSharts. He's an Irish lad with a penchant for pendants. Yeah. I got kicked out for grilling people too hard. Yeah, I burned this one guy real good. The speed dating people kept saying stuff like, "Can't bring that grill in here. Hey, let go of that lady's finger. Give us back our tongs." Stuff like that. I do remember being able to ask some questions of the other speed daters. I remember asking stuff like, "How come you only have one boob? You know, what happened to your eye? What happened to your other eye? Do you have any other scars? How do you not remember who cut your hair?" Stuff like that. I'm pretty curious when I'm speed dating, or Toodles McSharts is. Then I remember some of the questions I got asked, and some of my answers were like, "Yes, I am wearing underwear on my head. Yes, it is. Yes, it is stained. Yes, it does belong to that guy over there. Yes, I did agree to pay him, but not the price that he's telling everyone. And I remember this one deal I made with one of the speed daters. I said to her, "What do you mean I owe you money?" "What do you mean this isn't speed dating?" "How much is it for just the thumb?" "Can you go back over pricing for the feet again?" Crazy stuff like that. "What do you mean Bob Barker is a type of game you play?" I thought that was a host. Yeah, it was crazy. Here's a little impression of a guy I work with. He's like this. He's like, Stop touching me there. I gave you money last week. I'm not going to lie to that girl's parents anymore. You're going to have to return that old lady to Guatemala sometime." That's the one. "What do you mean you found my tooth?" Yeah, he's a blast to work with. He's funny. Can kids' beach toys be less tools? I mean, we're really creating some really crappy carpenters, if you ask me. I saw one kid's sandcastle like crumble immediately. And when you hire them away from the beach, they hardly ever show up. I asked them to build a shed for me, and they didn't even pull a permit. Their tool belts were a little loose. They had Oshkosh bagosh tans. I said, "Who's in charge here?" One of them said, "Oh, it's Mike." I said, "Hey, Mike, what's going on?" He said, "Call me Mikey." I said, "I'm not going to pay for all these posters you hung up in the shed. Those are all coming down. Except, actually, you can leave the Chris Cooper one." This is just a little aside, but how come when Chris Cooper runs out of Best Buy, people are like, "Oh my God, it's Chris Cooper. He's probably running from his fans." And when I run out of Best Buy, it's like, "Oh my God, what did that guy steal?" And why is that guy stealing? He has like the highest credit limit of any of our customers. Double standard. So when I was little, I had this Hulk float, and it was sort of like a Hulk head, and then like a split ring around. And I always wondered how did it look? You know, did it look like I was giving birth to the Hulk, or was the Hulk riding me? You know, not sure what was going on there. And then when I got in the water, it sort of rose up a little bit, you know, a little too much. And the Hulk head was right here. And I was like, what am I, the Hulk Siamese twin now? Is the Hulk trying to save me? I don't know. Am I becoming the Hulk? I don't know. And I also liked how it says, this is not a life-saving device. But the Hulk's on it. Why would the Hulk be on it if it's not a life-saving device? But we all had them, you know. It was like a sea of Avengers with those Avengers floats before Endgame. It was Endgame before Endgame. We had the Incredible Hulk. We had Spider-Man. We had Captain America. We had Thor. And then we had them in doubles and triples, just a sea of Avengers floats. My mom didn't say this, but she could have said, Avengers assemble for lunch. I just love that. For lunch. And back then we didn't have, I say Thanos, but Thanos. There was no Thanos. But one time we did find a rusty metal gauntlet. But that's a whole nother day at the beach / trip to the ER. You try picking infinity stones out of your toes, your feet. No one ever died at the beach, thank God. But that is why we never took control of the soul gem. Soul gem joke. I do remember one time we did battle the Sandman. If you don't know him, he's a villain. He's been in some Spider-Man movies. We battled the Sandman. It took all of our Avenger floats to fight him. It was an epic battle. We fought on the beach. He could make a fist out of sand. We fought in the ocean. And finally, we beat the Sandman. We were all so happy and overjoyed. Then my mom says, okay, now give the nice man back his shoes and trash bag. And what are all these needles doing here? And I complained to my mom. I said, Mom, the Sandman should be going to jail. And she explained, yeah, that's probably true. We don't have anything concrete on him, so let him go. And we did. This other time I had this window float. It was a float with a window there. And it allowed you to see underwater like if you were wearing goggles. And I'm floating along. And all of a sudden I floated over a spider crab. And I was like, man, I'm glad my feet aren't dangling right now. You know how tuna is the chicken of the sea? Well, the spider crab is the spider crab of the sea. No change. They're terrifying. And I'm pretty sure they can't shoot spider webs underwater. I haven't studied this, but I'm pretty sure they can't. I have seen them cough and make the water slightly more cloudy to confuse their prey. And that probably wouldn't work on like a human. But maybe on something small like an ant. You know? Then I was thinking, do ants go underwater? And A Bug's Life would teach us otherwise. But I think I've seen it. I think I've been floating along and I've seen an ant underwater just looking up at me like, oh, hi, Greg. Just going to make an anthill underwater. Something like that. Something like that, you know. And then I thought I saw one of the ants had a full head of hair, you know. That was weird. And I'm thinking, did I find mermaid ants? Did I find the lost city of Antis? Antis? That's good. I like that. And then all of a sudden, the water started to get a little cloudy, you know? And I said, run, ants. It's a spider crab. And I've never seen an ant do this before. But one of the ants jumped on top of the spider crab and tried to start to pull its head shell helmet like that was the source of its power. And then the girl ant, Captain Marvels herself right into its mouth. Knocks the spider crab back. And I was like, wow. Wait, did I step on one of that guy's needles back at the beach? Pretty trippy. So I decided to paddle my float on in, and I saw Chris Cooper running from some fans on the beach. And the battle rages on in Death Guard 2 Ant Guard. The evil spider crab, played by the evil, nasty Chris Cooper. And Topher Grace as the hero ant. And Sir Anthony Hopkins as Ant King. Death Guard 2 Ant Guard. I hope that gets made. Sometimes at the beach, I like to argue over prices at the snack bar. $5 for a hamburger? This isn't Machu Picchu, it's a public beach. Machu Picchu. Look it up. Now that I do that, it sounds more like the public beach, right? Machu Picchu, some more. That's the public beach. Those prices are legit. $4 for fries? What am I, in France? What if I tell you I'm just going to give them to the seagulls? What are your seagull prices? Death Guard 3, Death Snacks. Nasty fry cook played by yours truly, Chris Cooper. What are actually in those clam fritters? Chris Cooper's getting a lot of work out of this. And I also think that sandbar is the wrong term for that. You're at the sandbar. There's no drinks getting made. There's no Jimmy Buffett music being played. Your canoe gets stuck. No one's bringing you a drink. Yeah, we were stuck at the sandbar. Hate to see that bar tab. What tab? All there was salt water there. What's that, an IPA? Probably. But not here. Saltwater IPA. You know someone on Cape Cod makes that. Death Guard 4. Party at the sandbar. Death Guard is in paradise. The happy-go-lucky bartender played by yours truly, you guessed it, Chris Cooper. Does his life deserve preserving? Find out in Death Guard 4. Party at the sandbar. Man, he has range. Am I right? Before I get to this part, let me just... Death Guard 4. I just want the poster for that. Death Guard's in paradise. So, who runs the world? A lot of you probably say girls do. But let's look at that a little bit closer. 71% of the earth is covered by water. And who lives in the water? Fish do. So who runs the world? It's fish. So try to get a little fishy spin on that. It's fish. Who runs the world? It's fish. Fish appear a lot in our human culture, and us humans barely appear in any of the fish culture. So that kind of gives them an edge. And us humans, we eat fish on the regular. And the fish hardly ever eat us, except for maybe a shark attack. Once in a while, they'll get one of us. 1 point fish. And when the mob says, you're going to be swimming with the fishes, they'll cement shoe you right down to the bottom of the ocean. But the fish won't necessarily eat you, so still 1 point fish, 1 point mob. Put fish in front of any word, instantly becomes better. Instantly is fish culture. Fish cakes, fish sticks, fish shirts, fish hats, fishy fish fish. Sorry, didn't make it. And we drink water, so don't they, but 2 points fish. I don't know. Stupid. Then we come to fish sex. And fish sex is pretty weird because we don't even count dolphins. They're not counted in that. And human sex is kind of fishy. And little known fact, the Foo Fighters were originally called the Fish Fondlers. Sadly, only a small percentage of fish sex is consensual. Most of it is not, but sadly, some of it is. And for $1 a day, we can help save some of these poor fish. We'll send you a cute fish pillow, which you can violate any way you want. Have you ever tried to have sex with an octopus? Well, now we offer a octopus pillow. And if you hold it upside down, you can hear the ocean. Batteries not included. My apologies to the Pacific octopus worshippers. Legally, I have to say that. Death Guard 5, Octopus Orgy, the Double O. Octopus lover played by Kingston's own Chris Cooper. Thank you, Plymouth. Good night.